Test 1 2 test. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 test test. Test 1 2 test test. Test 1 2 test test. Test 1 2 test test.
Hello and welcome to Howard's Horse Handicapping for our first ever live stream. I'm very excited to have you join me tonight. My name is Howard Kravitz, and tonight and on this live stream we're going to be talking about many things: pick fours, pick fives, everything you want to know about horse racing. Tonight specifically we're going to be talking about the All Stakes Pick 5 Sunday that's going to occur at Sam Houston. They have a great card, top trainers, top jockeys. They have 2 grade 3s out of those 5 races. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. I'm here to help you get through all the noise and pick some winners. So if you're new to the channel or this is the first time you're watching, let me tell you a few things about myself in the show. First of all, I'll be working on some fancy graphics and some other nice features. I am not a professional YouTuber by any means. Our channel just started this week. We already have over 500-600 views on the total videos that I've put out there. So thank you very much for all of you that have supported me so far and the channel. What is this channel going to be about? Well, we're going to have, not only are we going to handicap, pick fours and pick fives, I'm going to bring on some guests, and we're going to talk about all different aspects of horse racing. It's going to be fantastic. If you saw my pick 5 video on Aqueduct, sorry, Aqueduct canceled today. I knew the weather was going to be a little bit cold. It wasn't the actual temperature that was the problem. They had very high winds, which was unexpected, and so their wind chill levels were too low, so they didn't race. However, don't forget about my picks and that pick 5, because what Aqueduct will do is run those races back sometime soon, probably in the next few days or next week. So it's definitely a good idea to take some notes on those horses. The post positions might be different, but a lot of the horses and the races should be the same, just run on a different day. So it will still help you out, just not for today, unfortunately, because they canceled the races. So for tonight, there's a bunch of things that I'd like you to do. First of all, please make sure you subscribe down below. You hit that notification bell. And I want to hear a lot of comments. There is a live chat going on the left side there. Please write some comments in about what I'm talking about. I love to hear your opinions on the races we're going to be talking about, or anything about horse racing in general. Also, I'd like to know how I can improve the live stream and the channel. I'm always looking for great ideas. Of course, we're streaming tonight live on Friday. Would you prefer Thursday nights? Are Friday nights better? Of course, with the pandemic, less people are going out right now. So we'll see how that goes in terms of what day or night would be best for you. So before we get started into the actual handicapping of the races, and what I'm going to provide for you is I will have the daily racing form past performances. You'll see them on the screen momentarily. But what I'd recommend is you probably might want to download the past performances for Sunday at Sam Houston. You can do that many ways, whether you use Equibase or whether you use daily racing form, or however you use them. I will have the past performances up on the screen, but I'm not going to be looking at every single horse, and it's probably a good idea to go ahead. If you're not going to download the past performances, at least maybe go and find the entries for the races on Sunday at Sam Houston to help you out. So I'm going to give you a minute there to go ahead and download that. As you're doing that, let me just tell you a little bit about myself, for those of you who are not familiar with me and my story. So I make my living as a high school math teacher. I've been a math teacher for 24 years. However, I'm an avid handicapper. I've been handicapping horse racing for 25 years or more, mainly focusing, especially in the last 10 years, on pick fours and pick fives. I love the horizontal bet. That is what I like to play. I'm not as much into the verticals and perfectas, exactas, supers, etc. I really prefer the horizontal bets, and that's going to be the focus of this show, although we will talk about some vertical bets as well. Why should you listen to me? Why are you even here listening to this particular live stream? Well, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I've had a lot of success hitting some nice pick fours, especially pick fives, 5-digit pick fives. My biggest score coming on Kentucky Oaks Day 2017, where I hit the pick four and the pick five. I don't think it's important to talk about dollar amounts, but you're more than welcome to take a look at that. That was my best score I've had. It was a day I will never forget, as Abel Tasman for Bob Baffert won the Kentucky Oaks that year. And within that pick five sequence was, I believe, a 25 or 30 to 1 shot. The name of the horse was Task Force Glory. You never forget about those horses that help you hit those big payoffs. Recently, I've been playing a lot of contests. I've had success in NHC qualifiers, also BC qualifiers. Last week, I finished third out of 120 players on ExpressBet. Just missed the top two. Need to get into the Pegasus World Cup Betting Championship, but I had an excellent day, finishing third out of 120 players. I've also had a lot of success on the New York Racing Association contests that they run over the weekends, finishing top 5 in that event several times. I also enjoy Pick and Praise that you can find on horseplayers.com. And also I enjoy Stable Duel, which is sort of like fantasy horse racing. For those who don't know, I've won some contests on Stable Duel as well. So I've definitely had some success. There are a lot of very good handicappers out there, obviously. I'd like to believe that I'm one of them. But no matter who you listen to, how you listen to, I'm hoping on this channel and tonight I can give you some tips on the pick five and maybe some different ways to looking at things. Again, please make sure you type in the chat. I'll be answering some questions later on. And I hope to have a lot of people coming to the live stream. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in to the pick five. And also, just to let you know, there will be a replay of this live stream on my channel sometime this weekend, relatively soon, once the live stream is over. Again, please make sure you comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and especially like to see you in the chat room here talking about these races we're about to go through. So we are going to go ahead and start. I should mention one other thing also. If you're new to the channel, I've been on the Matt Bernier show, which is part of the In the Money podcast. It's nationally known, award-winning. I've been on that show 3 times. Please feel free to go and watch those shows. I had a great time with Matt Bernier. Fantastic guy. I can't say enough good things about Matt Bernier and the In the Money podcast team, Jonathan Kitchen, Peter Thomas Fornatal. I've had the pleasure of meeting both of them, and it's definitely a podcast you should listen to. I was on the show August 11th, November 30th of last year, and I believe January 18th was the most recent time this year that I was on the show. So feel free to listen to those replays as well. You can just type in Matt Bernier Show on YouTube. Let's talk about Howard's horse handicapping. That's why we are here. So what I'm going to show you here now, excuse me 1 second as I make an adjustment here. Again, there might be a few little issues now and then. We're going to be working on that as we go along. So what you're going to be seeing is what you see on the screen right now. These are going to be the past performances. I'm not going to be scrolling through them, but I will be showing different horses and their PPs as we go throughout the process. And also, not only that, I'm not going to be showing you replays, video replays today. I have to work on a few things. I might be embedding some Zoom conferencing into these live streams. So there's a few technical aspects I need to work on. You're not going to see replays today, but I highly, highly recommend, if you have any access to watching replays of some of the races I'm talking about, you should definitely do that. There's a lot of ways that you can watch replays through Twin Spires, Equibase, TVG. There's a whole different ways, of course, you can watch replays And I believe watching replays of some of these horses is absolutely crucial in order to be successful in hitting the pick fives. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the pick five. A few things I want to mention about this pick five. First of all, it starts in race 6 on Sunday at Sam Houston. And also the post time is 5:25 Central Standard Time. That is when the pick five is going to begin at Sam Houston. How do you watch it? Again, if you have any betting platform, you can watch it. I'm assuming TVG will be covering it as well. So there are a lot of different ways you can watch the races on Sunday. So before I dive deeply into this pick five, there's a few things that I want to mention. This pick five is excellent. There are 3 big morning line favorites in this pick five sequence. And I can tell you right now, one of them I'm not a huge fan of. The other 2 can absolutely win. I'm going to show you at the end here, after we've handicapped the 5 races, how I would go about structuring tickets. A lot of people, and I've learned the hard way because I make mistakes just like everyone else, I've learned the hard way how to not structure your tickets correctly. I believe I'm an excellent handicapper, and I've had to work very hard on structuring my tickets correctly, because you can handicap fantastically and still not hit or get the best value on your pick 4s and your pick 5s. That is a whole other art and science that needs to be worked on. I'm still working on that, but I do have some methods and some ways I think are going to help you that are time tested, not only for me, but many horse players throughout the country. So let's go ahead and start with this pick 5. I'm going to go ahead and keep myself in the top corner there, just in case some people join us. I want to make sure that we are live. So the first race is 6 furlongs, the Stars and Stripes on the dirt, $75,000 stake. It is not graded. Again, it opens the pick 5. And there are 9 horses in this race. Now, the obvious morning line favorite and favorite in the race is number 1, Nitrous. You see Nitrous on the screen, trained by Steve Asmussen. Stuart Elliott, by the way, does ride this horse, and he does ride for Steve Asmussen often. Obviously, Ricardo Santana is his main go-to guy on the biggest tracks, but Stuart Elliott can absolutely ride many winners for Steve Asmussen. In fact, I have some stats. Last year, he was very successful. Stuart Elliott was 23% in the win category when riding for Steve Asmussen. That's an excellent percentage. So I would say, other than the main tracks, for example, Oaklawn, maybe in New York where Ricardo Santana will ride in the summer, all the tracks sort of in the Mid-South and other places throughout the country, Stuart Elliott is mainly his go-to rider. I think Nitrous is going to be very tough in this race. Now, you might be saying, wow, that's really not saying much. He's 8-5 morning line. Not all 8-5 morning lines are the same. But take a look at the PPs of this horse. This horse has buyers. And by the way, as I talk through these races, I realize there might be some people that are listening that are relatively inexperienced bettors. But I would assume that most people listening are fairly advanced, at least middle range or advanced handicappers. So I'm going to try to lean more towards in that direction. Not only that, when I give you the ticket dollar values, I'm going to give you some options. I'll give you some tickets that are more expensive, and I'll give you some tickets that are cheaper, depending on the way you'd like to go. So, first of all, Nitrous is going to be a morning line favorite, no question about it. If you look, the buyers there are and I'm sorry I have 2 arrows. I apologize for that. But anyway, the buyers are those bold numbers that most of you know where to look for that. This horse is getting better and better. I thought 2019, when he was a 3-year-old, he was an absolute deep closer. I bet him in the Woody Stevens. There are 3 starts from the bottom, and he almost won. I just got nipped by Hog Creek Hustle, who I thought should have come down that day. That's a whole other story. But, he did not have a great early part of his 2020, but I'll tell you, when you take a look at him, he's just improving. His buyers keep going up. And what I like most about this horse is Steve Asmussen has gotten speed into this horse. This horse used to be, like I said, an absolute dead closer, and now he's tactical. You can see in the running lines there, his last 2 races, he's showing much more speed than he did before, which is very important, I think, in any dirt sprint race. I think that makes him much more viable in these bigger races, and this is probably one of the easier races he's going to race against. Now, you could say, well, he's coming a little bit off a layoff, and this is probably a prep. I agree. He's probably prepping for some bigger races at Oaklawn Park, including the Count Fleet later, where he'll probably face Whitmore again and some other big races at Oaklawn. However, he's not off a big layoff. I see no reason why he's not going to be ready to win this race. He's my lone A in this race. And again, you don't need to, you can feel free to write stuff down, but I will have a screen where I'm going to show you my ABC ticket and Caveman ticket later on as we go. So he's my lone A. That means he's my top choice in this race by far. Now, there are 2 horses that I think are a little bit interesting that you should pay attention to in my opinion. One of those horses would be Skyride, the 5. Now, Skyride is definitely slower, but there's a few things I like about Skyride. First of all, Skyride is a newly turned 4-year-old. So this is a young horse that is absolutely improving. Landro Goncalves is riding for J.R. Caldwell. His last race was impressive. He rated, he went by, he won easily on this track. This is a big step up, no question about it. However, this horse is improving, and I think he has a shot if Nitrous does not run his race, and that's a big if. But if Nitrous does not run his race, then I think this race is absolutely wide open. I think Skyride is an interesting option. He's tactical, he's improving, he's got buyers in the high 80s. I see no reason why he can't improve into the low 90s. That would give him an outside shot in this race if things fall his way. The other horse that I would use as a B would be the 9, Hollis. Now, when you look at Hollis, all you see is speed. This horse is just serious speed on top of speed on top of speed. I do have some concerns about this horse, and I believe this horse will absolutely be the second choice without a doubt. Now, if you look carefully at this horse, he's been mainly going 5 and 5.5. He's even been on the turf going 5.5. But when you look back, and granted, this horse might be a better horse now, but when you look back, this horse has not been very effective at distances over 5 and 5.5. I'm very skeptical as whether this horse can get the distance. Now, he's got a 128 early time form rating. I would guess he's going to be on the lead. He might have to work for it. There is other speed in the race, which we'll talk about. The number 2 Verb has speed. The horse just to inside Mesa Moon definitely has speed. So I don't think he's just going to get a clear, easy lead. The number 4 on Moored has speed. There is other speed in this race, no question about it. Even if this horse is able to get to lead and clear, I'm very, like I said, very dubious whether he can get the 6 furlongs. However, I'm using him as a B in case he does get loose and in case he gets the distance. I don't want to lose with this horse. He's a 6-year-old, newly turned 6-year-old, only 14 lifetime starts. So it looks like he is in the best form of his career. I would assume he's definitely going to be the obvious second choice, but I would not use him as one of my top choices. I'm a little concerned about the distance with this horse. The horse I'd throw in as a complete wild card in this race, and I'd use this horse as a C horse, is number 3, Popularity. I love turnbacks. What's a turnback for those who don't know? Turnbacks, of course, is when a horse goes a longer distance and then the next time he goes to a shorter distance. And Brendan Cassidy, by the way, thank you very much. I see that you are chatting. I appreciate it. We have a bunch of viewers watching right now. Again, if you are new to the show, please call your friends right now. Tell them to jump on and watch the show. Brendan has been done a great job with his comments, and thank you, Brendan, for watching And I see that you like Hollis. Hollis can absolutely win. No question about it. Again, please make sure you comment in the chat, and let's get some more people involved as we go along. Popularity. Why this horse? First of all, I love turnbacks. Secondly, this horse has races on the go back in terms of class that can absolutely win this race. Is he a sprinter? I don't know. Probably not. He's got some negatives. He's a newly turned 7-year-old. The last 2 races are not great, but I think he's going to sit a nice stalking trip, probably a little further back. If this thing heats up and falls apart, I think this horse is going to come running. And if you don't like him on top, I would use this horse underneath in your tries for sure. Maybe even exactas. He's 21 morning line. I think you're going to even get that number. I think he's a little bit interesting. I'm using him as a seahorse. I really do not like any other horse in this race in the first leg. So my A would be 1, my B's would be 5, 9, and my C's would be the 3 in the first leg of the Sam Houston Pick 5. Let's go ahead now to race 7. Race 7, and I'll switch it on the screen here. Race 7 is a 1-mile turf race. It is 3-year-old restricted, $200,000. This is, tell you what, Sam Houston's putting out some nice purses for this day. This is pretty much the biggest day of the year in the state of Texas. And Texas has underrated racing. Their racing really has improved. They've been able to, their economy's getting better, and they've been able to raise their purses recently. And so they put a lot of money into this particular day especially. You're going to see top trainers, top jockeys all over the place. Let's talk about this particular race. There are some replay specials in this race that, again, I'm not going to be showing, but I highly recommend that you watch if you have a chance. And one of the horses replays that you really need to watch, in my opinion, is one of my top choices in this race, and that is the one, Palazzi, for Mark Casse and for Jockey Carroll. I'm not a huge fan of the jockey, but if you see in the top right, the very top right-hand corner there of the, and not the very top, but over on the right side, I put a comment line after watching the replay, and you can't see the entire comment that I have here, but it says, wow, explosive move on turn, very impressive. Guys, this horse was pretty much last in the field, and it was a race that I wouldn't say it fell apart. They were going pretty good up front, but nothing crazy. This horse made one of the most impressive middle moves I have seen in a long time. He absolutely exploded. Sean Bridgman had a ton of horse. He made a huge move on the turn, got to the lead, and went on with it. Now, that was just a maiden race. Obviously, this is much tougher. This horse cost just over $500,000. Mark Casse has very high hopes for this horse. The dam, which let me just show you the dam because I think that's interesting. It's important to understand breeding. Again, I'm using Daily Racing Form Formulator PPs. This is the mother of Palazzi, and you can see, although he was a sprinter, this was a stakes sprinter. He had a lot of success sprinting down the hill at Santa Anita, especially with some very high buyers. So there's no question he's got some turf pedigree. And not only that, if you're worried about, well, maybe he can't get the distance, I wouldn't worry about that because on the sire side, of course, he's sired by Pyre the Nile, who could run all day, an Empire Maker. This horse is 6-1 morning line. I think you might get that. If this horse can just get the trip, and you never know, it's a big field. This is a 12-horse field. So he's going to have to weed through horses and get the trip. But of all the horses I've watched replays on in this race, I really, really, really think this horse is the most impressive replay of anyone. Absolute explosion. So, that is going to be an A for me, Palazzi, 6-1. For those of you that are new to me or new to the channel, I don't just pick favorites on top. Anyone can do that. I try to find value. I think you're going to get value here on Palazzi as one of my A's. The other A that I like is going to be a speed horse, and that is going to be the 11, Win From Within, for Todd Pletcher, Albin Jimenez. I bet this horse when he was 7-2 on January 1st, his last race at Gulfstream. This horse had the 12 hole, and if you know Gulfstream, that's pretty wide out there. It is hard to get all the way over from the 12 hole and win. Again, this is another horse that's just broke his maiden. But you know what? These are newly turned 3-year-olds. It's basically a non-winners of one allowance race. I'm not afraid to take horses that just broke their maiden in this race. I think this is the best speed. He's got a 98 early time form US. There is some other speed in the race, although not blazing speed. I think he probably could sit off if he had to. But I think he's going to be best if he goes to the lead. So he had an 84. I think that's the best buyer in this race. However, he did get away with a pretty slow middle half. 25-1 first quarter, 49-1 to the half. So he got away to the half in 49. He's going to have to go faster in this race. But I think this horse should improve, and I want to use someone with speed as one of my top choices in this race. For me, it's going to be the 11, Win From Within. Now, let's talk about some other horses, because I think this race is pretty wide open. As a B horse, I would use the 3, Excess Magic, for Brett Calhoun. This is another improving horse, bred out of the fantastic sire Magician, who had a lot of success overseas and in the States, I believe, also. This horse got an 82 buyer last time, was very impressive. You're probably wondering, why am I not using this horse as an A? He got the most dream trip you could ever imagine. Just stayed on the inside. The horses on the turn sort of floated out. He came between horses. This horse made a really nice run. Listen, this horse can absolutely win. I'm not saying he can't win at all. However, he got such a good trip. Not only that, it was 7.5 furlongs and an optional 50 allowance. I don't know if distance is going to be better. He's bred to go longer, but what I watched on replay, I'm just not fully convinced that the extra distance is going to help him. But this horse is definitely live. There's no question about it. I'm only slightly against him because of the trip he got, but he is definitely used for me. He is a B horse, the number 3, Excess Magic. The other horse I'm going to use as a B is 20-1 Morning Line, guys. 20-1 Morning Line. If the number 8 horse, Chess's Dream, goes off at 20-1 or higher, I'll be absolutely shocked. And there's one main reason. Michael Maker. Trainer Michael Maker is awesome. We all know Maker. He's fantastic on the turf. He's not going to bring this horse from Gulfstream just for giggles. This horse is bred out of Jess's Dream. Jess's Dream was sired, I believe, by Rachel. I'll take a look at that. I'm trying to remember exactly. And you can see down below, not his progeny, but you can see the family tree. Yes, I think this was Rachel Alexandra's first foal, I believe. I'd have to check that. But anyway, this horse is bred to be very good. There's no question about it. And this horse is very live. So he's not going to be 20-1, first of all. That's my main thing that I want to emphasize there. But you might get a price. I'd say 10-1 is very reasonable for this horse. His last race was very impressive. Now, he only got a 66. Again, breaking his maiden against state breds. This is a big jump up in class. However, a few horses that he beat have come back to win and improve their buyers in the low 70s. And if you watch that replay, December 13th, Gulfstream Race 6, this horse absolutely exploded. He had so much horse. He won like a good thing. I see no reason why this horse can't improve his buyer tremendously. He's working fantastically at Gulfstream. He's got first Lasix. He's got Leparoux. There is other speed in this race to set up for him. This would be my price play, not only maybe of this race, but of the entire sequence. I would use him everywhere. Tries, exactas. I'm using him as a B horse in my ticket. I'm not using him in A only because I'm trying to play an affordable ticket, and I think the 1 is a little bit better, as is the 11. But Chess's Dream, the number 8, very live. The other horse I would use in this race, and this is where you need to start making some decisions. As I mentioned before, there's no reason in an ABC ticket, or really any ticket, just to play favorites in every leg. That's not a good idea. There's no way to make money. If favorites win every race, then it's not going to pay well and you're not going to win much anyway. Fighting Force. I'm against Fighting Force, guys. Fighting Force is 3-1 morning line for Todd Pletcher. He's going to be the favorite or one of the favorites. Let me explain why I don't like him. First of all, the last race, he faced a very good horse in Kentucky Pharaoh who won for me on a nice day when I had to pick 5 when he broke his maiden. And then Kentucky Pharaoh won again. So he's faced a good horse, and you can see his buyer jumped up from 70 to 77. Here's the deal. He just sat and got a perfect trip on the inside. He ran on okay, but he pretty much just followed the winner all the way around the track. He can improve again, but there's other speed in this race, number 1. Number 2, who's going to be a lower price. And number 3, I'm not sure distance is going to be his friend. He's bred well out of Air Force Blue, really talented European horse. So this is the horse that's pretty much one of the horses, I would say, that's going to make or break my pick 5 sequence, to be honest. Because if this horse wins, he's only a C horse for me, and that's going to eliminate a lot of other horses. Do what you will with Fighting Force. We'll see on Sunday whether I'm right or wrong. Obviously, he can win, but because of the price and a few other factors, I'm against Fighting Force on the win end. So again, to summarize that race, we're going 1-11 as A's, 3-8 as B's, with 8 Chess's Dream, one of my long shot specials of the entire sequence. And I'm using 5 Fighting Force as a C horse. Let's go on to the 8th race. This is the co-feature of the entire card and the pick 5. It's one of the grade 3s. This is the grade 3 Houston Ladies Classic. They're going 1 mile and 16th, $300,000 on the line, and we have a field of 7. I'll go ahead and put myself on camera here. Guys, here's the deal with this race. Again, you got to make decisions on what you're going to do in these sequences. I believe, just my opinion, the heaviest favorite of the entire sequence is going to be in this race right here. So you have a decision that you need to make. The decision you're going to have to make is how strongly you want to go with number 7, Latruska. Barry O'Brien, I see you have commented. Thanks for joining me, Barry. I agree. I'm going to interject some comments as we go along that are in the chat. So please, again, spread the word, guys. Please make sure you get other people involved in today's live stream. So, Barry, I sort of agree with you. You know, the only thing that's not weird to me about them setting in Texas is there's $200,000. There are not a lot of huge races on turf right now for 3-year-olds only. And Todd Pletcher's on fire. It's a pretty easy ship from Gulfstream to Houston. And they probably like this horse's chances. But I think this race came up pretty tough. So we'll just have to see. I've already talked about Fighting Force. I'm against him. You make a good point. Todd Pletcher obviously does not ship to Sam Houston too often, but this is not your normal Sam Houston card. So anyway, race 8. There's going to be a huge favorite in this race, and it's going to be Latruska. Let's take a look quickly at Latruska. There's not too much to say really about Latruska other than the fact this horse is going to be a huge favorite. Speed, 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 and more speed. I've been right about this horse sometimes. I've been absolutely wrong about this horse sometimes. This horse is going to have the lead. She is very fast. And you might ask yourself, is distance a concern? I don't think so. She ran well going 1 mile and 1/8 on a very demanding track that Saratoga is. This is 1 mile and 16th. She ran well at Gulfstream going the flat mile. She took the blinkers off. And I think that helped relax this horse. If you're concerned that it took speed away, I don't think so. This horse in the past has been very rank. I think they're just trying to get this horse on the lead and relaxed. I see no reason why this horse shouldn't be able to get to the lead relatively easy in this race and just wire the field. The 7 is my top choice. The horse that I'm a little bit against, that you have to make a decision on in this race, is the 1. Let's take a look at the 1. The 1 is Motion Emotion. Motion Emotion is a horse that's taken a lot of money in the past and is disappointed. In general, I've not been that impressed with this horse. He's been off since August. However, he does have a trainer change, Steve Asmussen. Now, Richie Baltus is an excellent trainer out in California. I think it's, a bit disrespectful of Richie Baltus to say that this is a big trainer change of Steve Asmussen. Steve Asmussen is one of the top trainers in the country. Richard Baltus is excellent also, just with a smaller stable. If you think this horse is going to improve with Steve Asmussen, I couldn't steer you wrong. I couldn't say that you're wrong about that. All right? But here's the thing. This horse is off 6 months. He has been working for this race, and this horse has showed speed in the past. So the only way that she beats Latruska is by stalking and then pouncing and beating Latruska and going by a very tough filly that's going to be on the lead and then holding off closers. I just don't see it. This horse is going to be second choice by far. I'm using Motion Emotion as a C. If you want to upgrade this horse to an A or B, feel free to do it. Again, I'm trying to budget my ticket. This horse is going to have to prove it to me off a long layoff. The last time this horse was off a long layoff, you look down her PPs. She did not run very well. Yes, that was her 3-year-old season. Maybe this horse is just better now for Steve Asmussen. But in general, I'm playing against this horse. I'm using this horse as a C. Feel free to upgrade Motion Emotion if you want. She will get first run on Latruska, most likely. I will say that. They might also send this horse. If they send this horse hard to try to make Latruska work, I don't think that's going to turn out very well for Motion Emotion. We'll have to see what Miguel Mena does on the 1 Motion Emotion. The horse that I'm a little bit interested in underneath would be the 2, Jeweled Princess. If you can't tell already, I like horses on the improve, especially more lightly raced younger horses. Jeweled Princess is a lightly raced, newly turned 4-year-old for Kenneth McPeak. Anyone that knows Ken McPeak knows that he's very patient with his horses. In general, his horses want to go longer, they want more distance, and he's patient with them. I like the recent progression of Jeweled Princess. She had an 82 Beyer 2 starts ago, closing to win. Last race was the best race she had. She ran an 87 in a little $75,000 stake race. Yes, this is a big step up in class, of course. But there's 2 things I like. This is not a deep field, and the pace might heat up in this race, especially if Motion Emotion sends. So we'll just have to see what Raylu Gutierrez does on the 2. I'm sure he's going to take back a little bit. The horse has nice spacing, is not racing over a month, has a work over the a work in 49 at, I'm not too familiar with that training track. It's just a training track, I believe fairly local. This horse I'm going to use as a B. Now, that might be a mistake. I might be thinking too highly of this horse. That's fine. I'm willing to take some chances. But here's my opinion. If Latruska gets burned up somehow, I think this is the closer you want. And again, I like to try to have a closer and a speed within the top part of my ABC ticket, if possible. So I'm going to use Jeweled Princess as a B. I would use her underneath in exactas. In fact, I think a terrific straight exacta would be 7-2 in this race, because you're not going to get paid with a 7-1 exacta or probably a 7-4 exacta. So this is the horse that I like. And I see Richard, thank you for joining us tonight. I see you've started to write some things in the chat. I appreciate that. Again, let's get more people involved in our live stream. The other horse I would use as a seahorse would be the 4, Lady Apple. Lady Apple actually came through for me last year. She ran this race last year. If you look down the middle, it was the best race of her career. She had a 98 Beyer. She beat Serengeti Empress, who was coming off of a layoff. I had Lady Apple that day at 8-1. I don't forget that because I had a nice pick 5 that day on this exact same type of card, this all stakes pick 5 card. But she's been pretty disappointing in the rest of 2020. She hasn't really improved much at all. She's been burning a lot of money. Now, I will say one thing. This is the other horse for Steve Asmussen. And how many times have we seen a trainer with 2 horses and the one that maybe doesn't look quite as good on paper win the race? Not only that, he's going to what I think more of his go-to jockey in Stuart Elliott. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why I don't like the 1 as much. If Asmussen really liked the 1 a lot, I would think he would put Stuart Elliott on her. That might be a bit of an overestimation. I might be trying to play that jockey game a little bit too much. However, this is the horse that I'm just going to play against. She's going to have to improve a lot. She's been working pretty steadily. Maybe I'll be wrong about this horse, but I just don't like the progression that this horse is going right now. And so I'm going to be using Lady Apple as a C. So to recap, my A's in this race. My A's are going to be Just Latruska, the 7. My B is going to be 2 as a long shot play in this race. And my C's will be the 2 Asmussens, 1, 4. Again, if you disagree, feel free to upgrade those Asmussen horses. But I really think Latruska is going to be very difficult to beat in this spot. I just think she's just going to wire this field if she runs anywhere near that she's capable of running. Let's go on to what I think is probably the most wide open race of the entire sequence. And that is going to be race 9. It's the co-feature. It's the $200,000 mile and a half John B. Connolly turf race. Again, going 3 turns on the Sam Houston turf course. Now, a few things to consider. Mile and a half turf races, I think, can be tricky, especially from a pace dynamic. I'm not always a huge fan of these very, very long distance, or I should say very, very long, at least for North American or for the United States standards, mile and a half. I'm always a bit dubious of these kind of races because you're never quite sure the pace scenario and a lot of things can happen. The other thing I want to mention about the turf on Sunday, it's been dry all week at Sam Houston. It has been firm. They're supposed to get some rain tomorrow on Saturday. Not a lot of rain, just a little bit of rain. I think it's important that you see the condition of the turf course on Sunday. It could be firm. It might be listed as good, depending on how much. I doubt it's going to be worse than good, but I think that might come into play with some horses in this race who I think might be better on firm turf. So it's a beautiful turf course. It is something to consider. There's one horse that I like especially at a price. Let's go to that horse first of all. The horse that I like, actually, I'll tell you what, instead of doing that, let's just run down a few of these horses. I'll tell you what, I changed my mind. Well, let's just go and look at the top horses first. Sorry about that. One of the top horses I like in this race is number 6, Marzo. Michael Maker always comes loaded in these stake races. He had 3 in this race last year. He's got 3 in this race again this year. Does that mean one of them is going to win? I don't know. But I'll tell you what. I like Marzo. First of all, Marzo's 10-1. You're going to get a price. When you look carefully at this horse has been in graded stake after graded stake, even better race than this, and has been very competitive in most of those highly rated graded stakes. Number 2, this horse shows speed. There's not a ton of speed in this race. I like to have horses that are forwardly placed, and of course a race that does not have a lot of speed. This horse should show some speed. He does not need the lead, but it should be up close. Now, let's take a look at his last 2 races carefully. Actually, let's look at his last 3 races. August 1st, in the Bowling Green at Saratoga, going a little bit shorter, mile and 3/8, this horse ran a gigantic race, only lost by 2 lengths to Sadler's Joy, Cross Border. Very nice effort. Got away with slow fractions, but ran a 97. I believe his career top, ran well. What happened next time? They run him back fairly quickly for horse racing standards these days. And Barry, I see your comment. I totally agree with you, Barry. I think this horse is interesting. So what happened on the 29th? Well, I believe, I'm just guessing, it was the soft turf. That turf was super, super soft that day. Channel Maker loves the soft turf. This horse just didn't run at all. I'm completely tossing that race out. I'm guessing the layoff, something happened in that race. He didn't like the soft turf. Maybe he got a little bit lame. I honestly don't know the story there, but I'm guessing the turf had a lot to do with it. He came back on New Year's Eve day, and I bet him, full disclosure, I did bet him. He was 8-1, or almost 8-1 at Turfway. He did not run well, no question about it. He showed speed. I'm guessing that that was a complete prep for this race. That would be my guess. He only ran a 74. I don't see any reason why he can't jump back up to high 80s, early 90 buyer here. I think he's live. I think he's very interesting. I'm using him as A, number 6, Marzo. The other horse I'm going to be using as an A is going to be the number 10, who will definitely be the favorite in this race, Spooky Channel. I have some mixed emotions about Spooky Channel. 3 starts back when Spooky Channel won, I did not have him. And the time before that one, he won the WL McKnight at Gulfstream almost a year ago today. I did not have him at 36-1. He's knocked me out of pick 5s a few times. I've also used him. I didn't get there. I bet him last time in the Fort Lauderdale. Might have been a mistake. He probably just needed the race. Again, I think that race was, I don't know if it was a prep for this race. That was a grade 2. And this is a grade 3. But I think he probably needed the race. Look who he lost to. Largent, who just finished a close second to the monster Colonel Liam in the Pegasus $1 million turf race. So I believe Spooky Channel is going to be the favorite in this race. He's a very solid closer. Leparoux knows this horse. He's the most dangerous horse in this field by far. He's probably, I would say, I don't think you're going to get even 5-2. I think he's going to be more like 8-5, 9-5 in this spot. But it's just hard for me not to use this horse. There are a bunch of other horses I like that are interesting to me. Some other horses I like. Let's take a look at it. One of them is the 2. I'm using the 2 Signal Man as a B. I don't think Spooky Channel is so good that he just lays over this field, and I'm not afraid to use a bunch of other horses. Signal Man has only 1 race on turf for McPeak. However, again, this horse is improving big time. Just take a look at his buyers. He's improving. He used to be an absolute dead closer. This is another horse that's finding tactical speed. This horse definitely wants to go longer, for sure. And I think he's going to have a good trip. He's going to be one of the better closers in this race. He's got some class. I'm using him as a B. He's won $670,000. I know some people won't use him at all, but I think he is a little bit interesting in this spot for Relu Gutierrez. Another horse I would use is as a B is the 3, another Michael Maker horse, A Journey to Freedom for Jesus Castanon. This horse is not really improving, but he's consistent. He's running buyers in the high 80s. He hasn't reached that 90 buyer yet, but he's a newly turned 4-year-old. He could absolutely improve. He's been working steadily. Distance should be no problem. He's faced tough horses. Gouffo is a 3-year-old and some other nice horses. If he improves, I don't see any reason why he can't be a factor. Number 3, Journey to Freedom. The other horse I would use as a B. This is a horse that I can't tell you how many times that I've bet this horse. I have to put myself on camera because this horse drives me crazy. I've won with this horse tenfold. I've lost with this horse. This is horse, again, Steve Asmussen and for Stuart Elliott. He only had 1 race on turf. I would recommend you guys watch that last race on turf, Fairgrounds, December 19th. It was a very interesting race. First of all, it's shorter than he wants to go. It was only a mile and a 16th. So that's one thing that I think played against him. He also faced Logical Myth, who's very sharp right now. This horse wants more distance, but if you watch the replay, he was trying to do the outside and he was lugging in a little bit. There was a horse just to his inside that came out and Tenfold had to check. It's one of those races you really need to watch the stretch and make your own opinion on. Distance is not a problem for this horse. I think he's classy enough. He raced well enough on turf that I think he can be a factor, and I respect the class of this horse. Again, he is a closer. If you notice, there's a theme here. There's a lot of closers I mentioned. It's one of the reasons why I like the 6 horse in this race a little bit as a price on top, because I think he's interesting. So that's why I like Marzo, because I think the best other horses are closers. As C horses, again, you have to take some stands here. I am against, in general, Conviction Trade. I'm using Conviction Trade as a C as a backup just in case. Yes, this is Michael Maker. I've watched this horse a lot of times. This horse just does not impress me. First of all, he's stepping up in class. He is somewhat tactical, but I've just never thought this horse was that talented. Since Maker claimed this horse, he has run 2 buyers in the 89s. He just ran a 2-mile race, but he got run down by Sir Anthony, who is an honest, I think the best Illinois bred in training right now. I don't know. Just visually, this horse has never blown me away. I'm against this horse in general. I'm using Conviction Trade as a C. He's going to be taking money, but I'm just going to be playing against a little bit, using defensively. Another horse I'm going to use as a C is going to be the 7, Tut's Revenge. Really nice, honest horse. You love to own this horse. He makes money for you, but he's been racing in much cheaper company. Allowance races mainly at Remington. He does have a stake race there where he ran well, just lost. The one thing I do like about the 7 is he shows speed, and there's not a lot of speed in this race. Can this horse get loose and get the distance? I don't know. I suppose anything is possible. He's never gone this far. He is in sharp form. If they just let this horse get loose, I suppose he can wire the field. I don't think he's classy enough. I also think that Marzo is going to be sitting right off him, and I just think Marzo is a better horse. We'll have to see. The other horse that I would use as a C horse, just in case, is the 12, Henley's Joy. Ran some big races as a 3-year-old. Had a very abbreviated 4-year-old season against the Steve Asmussen, but it's not one of his go-to riders. Again, it's a Jockey Carroll is on the 12. I'm only using this horse as a C out of respect for his back class. If for some reason he can run back to those numbers, he can definitely win the race. But I'm dubious that he can run back to the numbers he needs to. I don't like the post position. It's a relatively short run in the first turn, and I really am not a big fan of the jockey. So I'm using this horse as a C. Again, feel free to upgrade any horses you feel necessary. So in this race right here, my A's are going to be 6-10. And again, I will show you guys the ticket at the end. My A's are 6-10. My B's are 2-3-4. 2 is a bit of a price for me in this race. And my C's, my C's are going to be 5, 7, and 12. Again, feel free to do whatever you need to with the 5 horse. That's the horse similar to the 5 horse in the previous race. Similar to the 5 in the second leg, who is going to take money, who I'm against. So, need a little drink of water here. Let's move on to the last race of the sequence. The last race of the sequence, race 10. They're going a mile and 16th, older filly and mares. It's the Jersey Lily, 75,000 on the line. The third big favorite of this sequence, morning line favorite, is the number 1, Catch a Bid. What do you do with Catch a Bid? This horse is going to be one of the more interesting horses of the sequence for a few reasons. First of all, she's 7-5 morning line, very low price. Why? Take a look at her numbers. She's very consistent. She's always around the at the wire. She's running mid to high 80 buyers. Very good for this field, as you'll see. Best consistent buyers of all the horses. I have a few buts. This horse was trained by the best turf trainer in the country and one of the best in the world, in Chad Brown. This horse is now off of Chad Brown and goes to Joe Sharp. Joe Sharp is a good trainer. I don't want to take anything away from Joe Sharp. However, I've got a big time stat for you, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what that stat is, because there's some great things you can do with DRF Ticketmaker. So I'm going to show you the stat. If you just give me a second here, you're going to see in a minute the stat that I want to show you. The stat that I'm going to be showing you is how Joe Sharp does on the turf with a horse that he just acclaimed. So what you're looking right now, and I'm going to just change the screen here so you can see it. So if you look at the top, this is Joe Sharp, and you can see I customized it using DRF Formulator here in the middle. This is a Joe Sharp horse, the first time after a trainer change. So this is the first time that he has trained a horse in his barn on the turf. Take a look at the top right. 11%, not good. 6 for 54, only in the money 1/3 of the time. 11% is not good. Now, this might be one of the better horses that he's gained acquisition of as a trainer from someone else, because this horse is talented. Why the trainer change, I don't know the story behind that, to be perfectly honest. But that is a stat that's not very good. And this horse is off, 6 months. In saying all that, I'm using this horse as an A. I hesitate whether to do that or not. If this horse can run back to his numbers, she is clearly the horse to beat. It's not even close. But I'm a bit dubious because of the trainer change and the layoff. Use this horse as strongly as you want. That's what makes this game great, these kind of decisions. My top choice in this race is not Catch a Bit. My top choice in this race is going to be the 8. This is another Michael Maker horse for June Leperoux, Stunning Sky. Stunning Sky has the same numbers, if you look, high 80s in some grade stake races. This is a newly turned 4-year-old, so she's still got upside. She's honest. She's been working well. What happened in the last race? I watched the last race very carefully. I got to be honest, I didn't see that much trouble in the race at all. She was pretty clear, but I will say 2 things about Stunning Sky. First of all, I don't think Gulfstream is this horse's favorite track. If you go back and look, some of her lower buyers, granted it was earlier in her career, but I'm not sure she likes that really rock hard, firm turf course at Gulfstream. She's done better at Saratoga on that turf course. Was it the turf course? Was it some other reason? Is she just getting better? I'm not sure. I'm guessing that Gulfstream's not her favorite track. The other thing is she was 3 wide to 4 wide the entire last turn of that race. And Vigilante's Way, who won that race, did it on the lead. There was not a lot of closing going on. The other thing is Stunning Sky was not really covered up. And this horse wants to be covered up. That means, drafting behind horses. I think Leperoux is going to do that in this race. I think she's very classy. And I think she's going to run much better than she did last time. So I'm using Stunning Sky as an A in this race. My Bs are going to be a price horse. One of my Bs is number 5, Curlin's Journey. You're probably thinking why Curlin's Journey is a B. Well, her numbers are not that far off if you go 2, 3 back, even 5 back. Plus, no disrespect to the jockey the last 2 times, but Sophie Doyle is definitely a better jockey, and she's ridden this horse before. She's got tactical speed, which Catch a Bid is more of a closer, and also the number 8, Stunning Sky, is more of a closer. So again, I want someone that has some tactical speed. Curlin's Journey does have tactical speed, and she's got races that are decent against good company. I might be overestimating this horse, but I do think Curlin's Journey is a bit interesting to me. The other horse I'd use as a B horse would be the 7, Morning Molly. Morning Molly is an improving horse for Tom Proctor. Newly turned 5-year-old, was off a pretty big layoff last time and got a perfect trip last time and was run down by a decent horse. I'm not sure about the upside of this horse. She's already 5, but again, she does have tactical speed, and if she gets the right trip and improves, I think she could win. So I'm using her for Ty Kennedy as a B. The horses I would use as C horses would be the number 2, Chikara. Now, before you laugh and say, what in the world are you thinking, Howard? Take a look at Chikara. Chikara, for Carl Broberg, who, by the way, is an excellent trainer, especially off the claim, was running races that against cheaper company and too slow in the high 70s, right? Carl Broberg claims this horse, tries to get her on the turf. It was scratched off the turf. This horse did no running. This horse is not a dirt horse. This is a turf horse. I think this horse is going to improve for Carl Broberg, and he's not going to put this horse in this race just because. This horse is a very good closer. I respect the trainer, and I think she's going to improve. And if she could run into the mid-80s, why not? She's got a shot. She's going to be a huge price, and I'm going to use her as a C. I think she's a bit interesting, probably underneath, but I would not be completely, totally shocked if she wins at a giant number. The other horse I would use as a C horse would be the 11, Quick, Quick, Quick. Again, C horses don't cost a lot of money. The main reason I'm using the 11 is because she's speed. She should get a pretty easy lead, I believe. I'm sure Goncalves is going to send. She's been working very well. And I just want to have, if some bomb is going to the wire of the field, I think it's going to be Quick, Quick, Quick. I doubt it. I'm only using her as a C horse. But again, stranger things have happened. If Catch a Bid, the 1, does not run back to her race off the layoff, and if Stunning Sky, the 8, is regressing, and both of those things are possible, then some craziness can happen in this race. I think this is one of those horses that you can throw in there, to me, just as a C. So again, my A's in this race, 1-8, B's 5-7, and my C's are 2-11. So that is the way that I see this pick 5. Now, don't go anywhere because there's 2 things we're going to do before we leave. And again, I hope you've enjoyed the handicapping. Let me just grab some water here. By the way, I've got my buddy Justify here in the background. I got this actually. It's a sign by Mike Smith. It's fantastic. Thank you to my brother and his girlfriend Irina, my brother Mike, and his girlfriend Irina for getting me that fantastic gift. So there's 2 things I'm going to do now for you. I'm going to show you first my ABC Pick 5 ticket. Feel free to write stuff down, screenshot, whatever you'd like to do, and it'll show you. And then I'm going to show you also, I'm showing you the ABC Pick 5, and then I'm going to show you some Caveman tickets, and I'll briefly talk about the difference between the 2, and then I'll take some more questions on the chat. I see some other people have commented on the chat, and again, thanks for joining me tonight on the first live stream. So let's take a look at my tickets. So when you look, sorry about that. So here is my ABC Pick 5 ticket. Now, I like to use DRF Formulator. Again, you can use, DRF Ticket Maker. If you're not familiar with the DRF Ticket Maker, If you want to actually use Ticketmaker to make your bet, you have to have a Daily Racing Form account. Otherwise, you can just put it into Ticketmaker for free. It will give you a series of bets. I'm not sure how many tickets this is. I believe this encompasses 15, 16 different tickets that you'd have to punch in manually if you don't have a Daily Racing Form account. Now, this ticket's $120 without press-ups. That means just using everything for 50 cents. And you can see it right there. If $120 is way too much for you, fine. You can make some changes any way you want. You can just play the A's only on this ticket. You can play just the A's and B's. You can single wherever you feel necessary. I know $120 for some people is a lot of money. For others, it's no problem at all. You're betting $120 over 5 races. So really, if you do the math on that, that's just $24 a race. I'm sure a lot of you would spend $24 on one race. So betting 5 races for $120, not too much of a stretch for me. And I played somewhat bigger tickets because this is literally going to be my only play of the day at Sam Houston. Now, I will say, if you want to press up, and I did some calculations I'm not going to show you, but if you play, what I'm personally going to do, the all A's, which is 1 with 111, with 7, with 610, with 1-8, that's only a $4 ticket. Now, there's 3 huge favorites. Here's the thing. If you beat 1 big favorite in the sequence, it's going to help. If you can beat 2 big favorites, this is going to pay a lot. And if all 3 favorites, morning line favorites, lose, this thing is going to pay gigantic. And guess what? With this ABC ticket, all the big favorites could lose, and I could still hit it. So what I'm going to do is, in case it is chalky, that $4 all A ticket, I'm going to hit that 5 times. So I'm going to, in my DRF ticket maker, which you don't see right now, I'm going to play $2.50 all A ticket. And guess what? It's only $4 every time you make the bet. So I'm going to play it 5 times. So if the all A's come in, I'm going to have the pick 5 times. I'm also going to press up the all A's 1B just 1 time. So I'm going to go all A's with 1B for $1, and I'm going to go all A's for $2.50. If you press up that way, it's $162. So again, if you're going to play your favorites, you need to press up. Otherwise, it's not worth making the bet, in my opinion. So there's my Pick 5 ABC ticket. Now I'm going to change the screen here. Hopefully you've had a chance to write all that down or screenshot, whatever you need to do. Let's go to the Pick 5 and Pick 4 Cavemen tickets. Now, with the Cavemen ticket, what is a Caveman ticket? I've talked about this a little bit before. A Caveman ticket means that you're weighing every horse evenly. I do not, let me repeat this, I do not recommend you playing Caveman tickets. Even though it's a lot easier to punch in, you're not getting the value. And you're basically telling yourself that I don't think one of these horses is better than another horse. If your opinions are that weak, you probably shouldn't be playing the ticket, in my professional opinion. So, however, it is a ticket that's easy to punch in, and it's definitely a way that you can go. So, my Pick 5 K-Man ticket would only be $40. I would go 1 with 1, 3, 8, 11 with 7. So I'm singling Nitrous and I'm singling Latruska. With 2, 3, 4, 6, 10. I'm not singling Catch a Bid. I would go 1, 5, 7, 8. That is a very affordable $40 ticket right there. Caveman. Now, why do I have Pick 4s on there for race 7? Let me go back to my screen here, and I will, because I think it's important to talk about. So, how do you know whether to play a Pick 4 or Pick 5? Here's the general rule. If the first leg of a Pick 5 is either extremely difficult and you have to spread a lot, or there's a huge, very low priced post-time favorite that you think can't lose, don't play the Pick 5. Because you're not getting any value out of the Pick 5. It costs way too much money if you're going to play a Pick 5 and you have to spread a lot. You might as well just play the Pick 4, unless you just have boatloads of money, which maybe some of you do. Or if a huge favorite wins the first leg of a pick 5, you're not getting value on your pick 5. You might as well just play the pick 4. Now, you could press up many, many times, but that's the main thing. So why am I playing a pick 5? I don't think Nitrous has to win. Nitrous is probably going to win, but I don't think he has to win. And I think there's some other interesting alternatives in that race. So that was my logic for the reason I'm playing a pick 5. So going back to the pick 4. If you want to play, here's a possible $40 pick 4 ticket, which again would start in race 7. And you can see it's very similar to the Caveman pick 5 ticket, except I'm only going too deep in the last race with Catch a Bid and Stunning Sky. That is a $40 ticket. It can absolutely pay. I have some prices in there. No question that can pay. If you have some deeper pockets, I would go deeper in the last race and maybe go 1, 5, 7, 8 and double your ticket and go an $80 ticket. Or you can just go 1, 8 in the last race, and in that second leg of the pick 4, you can add another horse with Latruska. Maybe you like Motion, the 1. Maybe you like Lady Apple, the 4. Maybe you think my 2 horse is interesting and you want to use her. Again, there's a million different ways that you can construct your tickets. So it's something that you really need to think about in this pick 5 sequence. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's my handicapping of the Sam Houston late pick 5, all states late pick 5 on Sunday. In the chat, I see a few things I just want to mention there. Again, I want to thank Brendan for joining the live stream, putting things in the chat. Barry O'Brien, thanks for joining me. Richard Flax, thank you for joining me. Again, the way that we're going to grow this channel and grow these live streams, we need to spread the word, get it out there. I hope I'm going to bring you some winners on Sunday. Please make sure, again, that you hit that subscribe button. You comment down below within the chat or even below the video when the replay comes out. And hit the notification bell. Good luck this weekend, especially on Sunday, for the Sam Houston late pick 5. The next video will be coming next week, where I'll be handicapping a pick 4 or pick 5 sequence and possibly have another live stream on Thursday or Friday night. Thanks for joining me. This has been Howard's Horse Handicapping. This is Howard Kravitz. Take care and good luck.